like, let's say, most of us, probably, like, my parents, was from an agricultural family background. Like, so by the way, you use the word Srikakulam in your opening talk. I am from Srikakulam. So you're saying that a boy sitting on a Srikakulam, can they imagine? Okay, I'm a boy sat out of Srikakulam and have been able to imagine. So what I was trying to say is that, most of us are from either service families or are from, like, agricultural backgrounds in this part of the, Andhra. Right? For us to really imagine how a dhanda runs versus, let's say, when people are from family business backgrounds, it's actually very different. And the next breed of entrepreneurs and the generation of entrepreneurs are actually very much mission-driven entrepreneurs. I have found very, very less percentage of people who say that, they're starting off, just because they want to make money. I think it's always been driven by purpose. And what that does is that that actually creates the next step to be very, very vague. They don't know what is actually the next step. That was, for me, while I was based out of Guntur, right? And the only, simple thing for me was to essentially step out and take a relocation to Bangalore so that I could, like, interact with entrepreneurs there. And this, I'm talking 2013-14 ecosystem, where probably you can compare that with, maybe today, Vizag, or, maybe 1-2 years, before that. So, and there were hardly companies which probably would be like $100 million valued, right? And if you're $100 million valued, you're like one of the big boys on the Kormangla street, right? So that was the timeline where, I sort of relocated there and did. So to answer your question, Dhatri, indirectly, I think most important to build for the globe from India. I think it's largely more to do with aspiration. It really doesn't really matter which city you are in, right? Once you've cracked the code. Assuming you've cracked the code and you want to really build for the whole world, you can sit out of here and build for the whole world, right? What's really important is if we can be in the ecosystem of Vizag and how can we crack that? And this is what I tell some people is that Bangalore has been an ecosystem where I never had to take out a flight to sort of, meet an investor. Investors used to essentially fly down. So I think capital is one of the very most important ecosystem enabler which we need to solve, because capital is also a validation for the entrepreneur. Let's say, assuming I'm an entrepreneur, I'm building a problem statement. Now, I drink my own Kool-Aid every day. I think whatever I'm building is the best. The most important test is when you go and tell a person that, hey, I'm building this. Would you like give me, a few lakhs of rupees which I'm going to invest and burn in my company? Are you okay with it? Then the person says no, right? That's when you get to know that, okay, I'm not probably building the right direction. So capital generally is a very strong validator of what you're building. And the second biggest thing, which I think Vizag should probably never ever have any problem with, because, which I think yesterday Honorable CM also was mentioning in his, statement that, globally 1 out of 4 people is IT in Indian, and in IT 1 out of 4 is like Andhrites. And even at Blackbuck, I think 40 to 50% of the people in technology are Andhrites, right? So I think Vizag, you will not have a talent density problem. I think if people you find, would be like far richer, would really want to work from this particular place, I think that's the second biggest sort of enabler. And in these enablers typically are launched onto a platform which I think Andhra is very blessed with, because I think this is probably the first government and the people like you, Lokesh, I've spoken to, who understand what is innovation, who understand what does it take to build companies, who understand how to create change. He mentioned one statement in his opening speech: we will change the laws, in line with what entrepreneurship needs, right? It's a very heavy statement to make, and I think if the intent is like that, Vizag has a platform which basically is really, catalyzing and lubricating this entire ecosystem to build out. And I think the parts which I talked about, I think capital, which probably is again a network effects ecosystem, I think that's something which probably can easily be solved by, by the frameworks, by the two people sitting on the right and left to me, right? And yes, so I think the critical mass has to be solved. Maybe we need those, 10 success stories. If that happens, I think, we just start rolling, and I think we'll find ourselves maybe, 4-5 years down the line, things are activated and we are speaking as if, it was a problem of the past.
Absolutely. We need those hero startups that will then spawn and set off the ecosystem in AP as well. Now I move on to Mr. Satish Andhra. Sir, you've been one of the most prominent voices of capital in the Telugu states. It's great to have an investor lens here through you. What would you say are the steps we need to do to de-risk a young founder?
And when are you going to enter? And when are you moving to Vizag? I think that's the next question I would have.
It's okay. Yeah. No, I'll definitely be spending a lot of time here in Vizag. Yeah. Datri, I'm from Anantapur. I'm glad it's called Anantapuramu now, not Pur. So, and my last name is.
Anantapuram now has the in Andhra Pradesh, out of the 26 districts.
Right.
It's the 5th district in per capita income. So Rayalaseema cannot claim backward district anymore.
Sure. So, and my last name is Andhra. So, a lot of people in Hyderabad question why I'm in Hyderabad after the division. But anyway, fun apart. I think one of the key things we need to recognize is that there are different types of enterprises. I think you look at, there could be a lifestyle business, there could be an SME, there would be a startup, there could be a social enterprise. So it's extremely important to look at all kinds of enterprises. From Honorable Chief Minister's perspective, when he talks about one family, one entrepreneur, absolutely you need to address all of these segments to ensure that there is inclusion, there is contribution towards GDP. I know a lot of us are very biased because yes, India needs to build more unicorns. We're the second largest ecosystem right now because China, entrepreneurs are building for the nation now. So US and India, we're building for the globe. So very clearly, let's look at data. A lot of times, tourism industry is as big as IT services industry in this country, right? And if you look at dairy industry, it's 50% of the IT industry in this country. A lot of times, without really looking at data, we get very biased because all of us keep hearing the same stories again and again and again. So the reason why I want to highlight this is it's extremely important we recognize all of these enterprises. MSME needs are very different. Startup needs are very different. The capital needs, it's risk capital, non-linear growth gets rewarded, right? Versus a local enterprise, a small enterprise needs are very different. So how do you connect? So there will be Andhra entrepreneurs building for Andhra, Andhra entrepreneurs building for India, Andhra entrepreneurs building for the region, which includes Southeast Asia and GCC, and Andhra entrepreneurs building for the globe. So we need to look at those aspects as well and kind of connect all the dots. I think what is unique about RTIH, Honorable CM's vision and Lokesh Garu's vision is that if you really look at how do you reduce the risk? You reduce the risk. We have plenty of talent. Now, how do you connect that talent to customers? How do you connect that talent to capital? And how do you connect that talent to infrastructure? How do you institutionalize that framework of connecting an entrepreneur in any of these segments to capital, customer, and infrastructure? And I think RTIH has a very pivotal role to play. And the way it's structured, it's so unique that you've got a hub, you've got the spokes, you've got the industry, you've got the academia, you've got the centers of excellence, and pretty soon there will be a fund, and there'll be a bunch of funds actually, not just one fund. There should be a fund for startups and innovation, there should be a fund for SMEs, there should be a fund for social enterprises, fundamentally, and a mentor network that kind of handholds each of these entrepreneurs depending on their requirements, because in the end, every entrepreneur creates wealth, shares wealth, creates employment, contributes to the GDP, both direct taxes, indirect taxes, and we have to empower all of them. And that's what I think is the vision of Honorable CM and Lokesh Garu, and RTIH, I'm sure, is going to play a pivotal role, and we're all here to support, the entire state to kind of leapfrog everyone out there.
Thank you, sir. I'll have you talk about the fund in the next round of questions. But just as a follow-up to the answer that you've given, what can we, RTIH and the state of Andhra Pradesh do to better help VCs connect their capital with talent in AP and also enable them to enter the state faster?
I think Rajesh talked about capital validation. I'm a very firm believer that capital chases talent. It's not the other way around, right? So when there is talent, I think investors are greedy. They go everywhere where they can find talent. And also today, entrepreneurs have to look at we're a connected world. While there is geopolitical scenario out there, a best entrepreneur raises capital from where it's plentifully available, builds it where it is inexpensive, markets it where they get a premium, and exits where they get the highest valuation. So you have to have that mindset, right, to be able to do that. So to me, I think let's create success stories. I think you've seen, in Pulala Gopichand Academy, I always take this example, right? Prakash Padukone, not to belittle anyone, I mean, all of these are great sportsters. He set it up 30 years ago. Pulala Gopichand, again, Honorable CM played a big role, obviously supporting the ecosystem. 15 years ago or 10 years ago, he set up the academy, and you've got plenty of players in the top rankings of the world, right? Badminton. Success breeds success. When I see someone becoming successful, I get inspired. And then I say, oh, I can do it too, because, someone I see every day is able to do it. Now I will leapfrog, because I take that playbook and I go a step further and I can do it even better. So to me, I think let's absolutely find that talent, support that talent, and showcase that talent. You will be, obviously saying no to many of the investors because they'll all be calling you.
Thank you, sir. That was beautifully put. And a note to my team, please steal the lines. It's a tweet waiting to happen, especially the journey of the entrepreneur that was just articulated. Sir, Honorable MSME sir, Minister, sir, the next question, sir. Andhra Pradesh has been doing really well in the ease of doing business. It's one of the top performers. How do we ensure that the same level of responsiveness is also given to our startups and the smaller MSMEs?
It's the right question. In fact, the entire industry has been aligned to to promote entrepreneurship. For that, Honorable Chief Minister wanted to dedicate an officer at the grassroots level and empanel him and support him in a very big way that, a proper hand-holding system gives to the entrepreneur as well. So we're engaging one officer at every RTIH who is going to collaborate with all the officers at the zonal level, at the district level, and the district level also will have IPOs across each constituency, so that every entrepreneur who want to start something, they're connected to RTIH as well. So that's a very big way to go, but definitely we want to promote entrepreneurship. Honorable Chief Minister's vision for 2047 wants every family should have one entrepreneur who could really prosper the village, his place, and the country as well. Being second highest populated country in this world, we are the biggest consumers in the world, and we can produce for our own needs, and we can also produce for the global needs as well. Honorable Chief Minister believes that if we could establish the ecosystem, definitely India could prosper, and definitely every family could prosper. So that is how the Honorable Chief Minister has been guiding us. Proper ecosystem has to be established, and the department is going to realign ourselves in a way that it could really help the industry as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Professor Ramesh Loganathan, I think you're one of the voices that's worked both in the industry and academia, and which is why we have that much more of an amplification effect from you. So, sir, what can we do to change the mindset of students in universities from a placement first mindset to innovation first mindset?
That's a very, very hard problem in the sense that I think it's the education system, right? And as a society, we are the one that nurture that system, our coaching-based system. So I think we zap any creative juices left in the kids, right, from 9th onwards till 12th. So unfortunately, engineering colleges and other colleges, we get the students, I don't think we make it worse, but we don't make it better either. So it's first thing is to see how can we create more exposure. We don't, if you look at it, like when I see any of the, especially students, when they come out with ideas and such, by and large, it's around maybe e-commerce or education, right? Very, very, because their world is so limited, their exposure. They only think of problems in that. That's one big, so I think we need to increase the exposure. It's not an easy problem to solve, but that's one, I think we need to increase the exposure. Inspiration, I mean, can we, like Satish rightly said, success breeds success. Can we showcase local successes, right? And so that they believe it's possible. If somebody from a neighboring town or has done it, they believe it's possible. So I think the inspiration is something that's very important. We did this, I mean, I know Lokesh Garu said things paused for 5 years, but before that, when we were trying the FinTech Valley, we did try to create a culture of trying to, I mean, hackathons. I'm not a big believer in student startups, right? I mean, students should study and they should graduate. But the inspiration should come there. Ideas, thinking about it, like just doing a hackathon to think about a problem to solve. Think about customers and, right? I think we need to create those, more and more of those fora where they get to experiment a little bit with ideas and like it may not become a startup, but that's okay. But they start to think, today it's a very job based as an end outcome, but otherwise their day-to-day life is exam based. They're just preparing for an exam and they hope that the good marks, good grades will get them a good job. And they think life is set. Life is not set, right? There's a lot more to life than that. I think we need to make them experience and that we need to create this in a good way. I mean, like connect them to markets. Many hackathons happen, but there it's more about just building something, writing some code. Can we create hackathons where they think about customers and problems, users and problems, and try to solve that? I think that at scale, I think the framework that RTIH is creating in the hub and spoke model is a good framework to devise something at the central level and roll it out all the way up to like maybe even a district level and have hackathons that roll up to a state level. But doing it in a way that's very user, customer, problem focused is very important. I feel that alone can bring about change in mindset, and that change in mindset is the starting point.
Thank you, sir. At RTIH, we're really excited to launch something we're calling InnoTribe, which essentially is going to be an RTIH accredited network of entrepreneurship cells across Andhra Pradesh. And through that, we aim to democratize the aspiration of entrepreneurship in itself and also ensure that student innovators find that pipeline to enter the startup system.
Ratri, one interjection. Lokesh, you generally do things with speed. I have one small idea. When Professor Ramesh was speaking, a lot of institutes and schools, they are very delayed at helping students decide whether they want to take placements in their final year, because they generally stumble upon an idea by third, fourth year. And my own alma mater has implemented this very recently, that and this was there in all Ivy Leagues, obviously. It's there in IIT Bombay, it's there in BITS. You can defer your placements in fourth year, start off, and if the fear of failure, like let's say if you fail, if nothing works out, you want to pick up a job, you can actually within 2 years come back and sit back again in placements. So this is something in Andhra, like you can look at doing it with speed. Create a safety net, and then because in Kharagpur, I mean, lot of us, lot of kids, like lot of friends wanted to, but then it's like that pressure of, okay, our parents thought that this kid will graduate, get a job, and support family, and then now I don't even have a job, right? So that one safety net you can create from like day one.
That was a really good suggestion, Mr. Rajesh. Mr. Madan Patki. You worked at grassroots and then you also scaled up enterprises from grassroots, which is where it really matters. So for you, it's well known that grassroots innovators are great at Jugaad. Now, how do we take this Jugaad and help them build scalable, investable and income producing enterprises?
Wonderful. Namaskar, and wonderful to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's fascinating to listen to a bunch of views, very, very energizing. As I was sitting here, I was just reflecting on my own startup journey. I started off in 2000, much before anybody could spell entrepreneurship. Even now, I struggle without word autocorrect happening, whether it's N-E-U-R or N-U-E-R or whatever. I sometimes believe the root word for entrepreneurship is antarprerana, right? And that should be the one, right? It's all about inner motivation, right? And perhaps we should, Lokesh, you have to start off by replacing entrepreneurship with antarpreneurship or something like that. Entrepreneurship. That's a great one, right? So, and at that time, to what Rajesh was saying, there were barely a handful of us in Bangalore who were dreaming of being a startup. In fact, TIE started in Bangalore in '99. I'm on the TIE Global Board. Nandan Nilekani was the president of TIE Bangalore. And I still remember attending one of the first meetings where there were like 8-10 of us sitting around a table and asking some naive questions like if you don't return equity, will you get jailed and stuff like that, right? So, but it's come a long way. The nation has moved a long way. In fact, I was also reflecting very fondly on the Honorable CM's foresightedness that you talked about. We were invited to Andhra as Merit Track in 2003 to conduct India's first ever online graduate employability test called GET, and we did it online across all the districts of Andhra. I'll never forget that because everything that could go wrong went wrong. But that set the tone for what a digital first assessment system could look like, right? So to your point about Dhatri, about the whole vision of one family, one entrepreneur, and you were talking about data. So I think there's a 3D framework in play here, right? Any entrepreneurship model has to be democratized. Today it's getting there. A lot more to be done at the grassroots, right? Can every youth out of any village dream that, yes, I can do that, right? That relatable role models that we were talking about. 2, it has to be distributed. It has to be in every village. That's the concept of mass entrepreneurship. That how do you get every village the equal opportunity that anybody in a Vizag or a Hyderabad or a Bangalore or a Delhi has to access the same kind of resources and knowledge that I can still do it. And 3rd, it has to be digital. In the world of AI, the world is really the market, and I think we are at an inflection point of the same 2000s when you can really reimagine everything with the power of AI, and that's the power of the moment now. I think every big idea has a tipping point, and I can really see the tipping point. We're getting to the tipping point of the ecosystem that we're seeing in Andhra and places like Vizag. From the aspect of taking grassroots ideas and building it up, again, just summarizing some of the things that we said, there are 3 things at play. One is the seed. How do you make every young person right from school to start think about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial thinking? Now, whether one becomes an entrepreneur or not is a moot point, but entrepreneurial thinking is a critical 21st century skill, right? So how do we embed that seed in every individual's mind that, yes, I can think entrepreneurially, I can think jugaad, I can think of solving problems, right? The beauty about India is there are problems everywhere, right? Every problem is an opportunity in disguise, and if you can capture those problem statements to turn into opportunities, we're sitting on multi-billion-dollar opportunities, right? Second is, what is the soil, which is where RTIH comes into play, right? How do we make the soil fertile enough for that seed to sprout? It could be academic institutions helping with incubation. It could be local capital available. It could be banks willing to go the extra mile to say, yes, I'll lend to you, right? It could be local relatable role models which says, if this joker can do it, why can't somebody else? Which is what happens in entrepreneurial ecosystems. And the last part of it is climate, which is where Lokesh Garu and you were talking about, sir, is that how do you create an environment of policy that is supportive of the entire seed and soil, right? How do we make sure that access to capital is easy? How do we make sure that ease of doing business, I think, which is a big deal. In fact, at GAME, we had helped one state decriminalize 1,100 issues around in the policy which can imprison an entrepreneur, and we brought it down to some 170, right? So we need to do all of that so that entrepreneurs can go out there, bat on the front foot and say, listen, I can hit every ball for a 6, right? That is the kind of confidence that we need to do. So we need to make sure that there's an orchestra of seed, soil and climate, and I'm sure with all the initiatives that are happening here, we can build this up. In fact, one last point I would like to say is that at the soil level, we need to be able to infuse, as you were saying, logistics, right? How do we make sure that there are common infrastructure available even at the village level? So if there's a women artisan producing something, she doesn't have to struggle to take packages to 30 kilometers out and then find a logistics network and returns and all that. So can we do that ease of doing business from an infrastructure standpoint? Lastly, I know we haven't talked much about the 2-letter AI word, which I believe is also all-inclusive. So I believe that India needs not more of Gen AI, but we need more of Jan AI. That we need to be able to take AI to the masses. And we're actually launching a large initiative called Jan AI, where every village can it be a hotbed of AI innovation for solving local problems by local youth. And I think that opportunity to do that is fascinating. So look forward to working together at the Global Alliance for Mass Entrepreneurship. We're really excited. We have the Vizag Entrepreneurship Mission that we have launched a few months ago, supported by RTIH, and I think we are experimenting a bunch of things here, and I'm sure, Andhra will be able to set the entrepreneurship model, as we were talking about, to the rest of the world very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Really like the seed, soil and climate concept that you've introduced us to. Hopefully through RTIH as well, we have something called MINE, which is essentially a micro incubator network across Andhra Pradesh, where we have mobile incubators traveling to the remotest parts of the state and taking innovation and the incubation ecosystem right to the doorstep of the grassroots innovator. He need not go searching around for the right ecosystem. HMIT, sir, we come back to you once again. Sir, you want to make entrepreneurship a statewide aspiration. So how can we ensure that cohorts like women, rural entrepreneurs, MSMEs, students, the mission reaches all of them? That is one. The second one, sir, we have a lot of investors, students, innovators watching us today. So what is the signal that AP wants to send out to them?
I'm getting all the tough questions. No, I think, to be honest, well, I'll answer your questions, but I think the entrepreneurs in the room, first thing you need to realize is you need to have fire in your belly. Please understand that. There is an example for us, that is our Chief Minister. Just look at his journey. What was Hyderabad in 94? Nothing. He took a barren land. He got L&T to build a round building called now Cyber Tower. Then he managed to steal Bill Gates out of a cocktail networking dinner, pitched Hyderabad, got them to do their center. ISB was coming up in Maharashtra. He hijacked the flight that was going to Tamil Nadu, Madras back then, to Hyderabad, served breakfast with his own hands to all the who's who of India to get ISB to Hyderabad. Let's look at what is he doing now. The quantum mission that's getting created in Amravati. When he first called me and he said, "Yaar, I want to do this quantum thing," I'm like, what is he even talking about? So I went to ChatGPT. I said, "ChatGPT, give me a 2-page note on what is quantum. What is ecosystem? What does it mean?" But please understand that he didn't leave it there, right? He follows up. The persistence, perseverance. So why am I sharing this with you is entrepreneurs here, you need to understand that there will be 99 naysayers. It won't happen. Why are you wasting your time? But it takes that 1 second every morning to say, "No, I'll go get it done." And I'm sure Rajesh will agree with me on this. I'm sure, family members themselves are like, "Neek enduk ra bhai anni nu haiga udyogam teesko neek manchi double vastayi kada nee IIT ki enduku pampicharu double dandaga nee paina nee." These are the questions that we get asked. But that fire in the belly is what all of you need to have. You need to drive, you need to be patient, you need to be persistent. Coming back to the question that is asked here, right? I think there's a lot of work that we need to do. So, as Datri is heading RTIH as in 2 young ministers, relatively young, now I have a lot more grey beard, but relatively young ministers, we have to look very inward looking. With all the panelists here, we need to sit, we need to work, we need to analyze, we need to introspect the changes that we need to bring. Let's accept one fact. It is not easy to do business in India. Let's accept the reality. While every one of us is trying to, top the ease of doing EODB or now Andhra May speed of doing business, let's accept fact that it is not easy to do business in India. But what I'm promising to every entrepreneur in this room is Andhra is a platform willing to change. We are here, we are willing to look at every regulation, law, to make your lives easy, to really deliver in spirit on the ease of doing business. We spoke about, logistics in the village. It spoke about the artisan who wants to supply the product to the US, or to the grandmom who's making pickles at an industrial scale and sending it to Europe, or the households making tapes from Kaja and trying to send it all the way to Southeast Asia or even to Australia. Logistics matter. Certification matters. So this is where the entire ecosystem sort of comes together. And that's exactly what I'm looking forward to working with, all the leaders here, because you've gone through it, right? You've been through it. You understand. The wealth of knowledge that's here on this dais is not there in the big fives, with all due respect to them. Because you've tried, you've tested, you failed fast, you've sprung up again, you've run. Satish has incubated so many amazing companies. I'm very envious in the way he's done it. So there's a lot that, the companies can come and give us input on. And that's exactly what we want to do here. And that's the only way, as you rightly said, the rural, someone who's made a simple, tasty sweet. That's a big business in India. 1.6 billion people. And we love our sweets. We love food. That's a big business. Millets is a big business. Right? There's such amazing ideas in rural that we can harness. But this is where I think it's very easy to say that we look at everything, we'll evaluate everything, we'll fund everything, but practically speaking, it's impossible to scale at that level. But how do you create an enabling environment that will stand the test of time and politics? So beyond the people who are sitting on this dais, right, our lifetime, they should still continue to succeed. And that requires an institutional framework. And that is what, as young ministers, we offer to the people of Andhra Pradesh. Please understand, 17 out of 25 ministers are first-timers. So what we bring is raw energy, passion to change things. While I know it's not a dais to talk politics, but please understand, while the political party now has 4.5 years of legacy under its belt, but the team now that's representing is very young. The last part I would like to add is the capacity building that we're working at a governance framework. Yesterday we signed an MOU with the Singapore government, and the first point we inked is building capacity, where officers like Datri will go to Singapore, understand that what is the framework required. Yeah, we can keep changing laws, right? But then Lokesh is here today, Lokesh might not be sitting here tomorrow. How does the framework continue beyond me or beyond individuals? I'm sure Rajesh knows this, right? When you started your company, it was all about you and you, right? Everything would come to you, but then you'd bring in systems, processes, frameworks. That's exactly what states need. And only then will we thrive. And that has been the cornerstone of what we want to achieve in this term. As you will hear that we'll do, there's this startup, there's that land given, this is there, that's great. But what's beyond us? The frameworks. The state should continue to thrive. The state should continue to accelerate towards the $2.4 trillion economy. Only then the Vikasit Bharat mission can be delivered. Thank you.
Thank you so much for articulating that, sir. Mr. Arora.
It's not tweet ready,
So it is.
Everyone is tweet ready. I'm not tweet ready.
This was note to team again. So, Mr. Arora, sir, we keep saying that corporates are the partners that we have at RTIH are our real strength. How do we ensure that? What are we doing to ensure that corporates are co-builders in this journey with RTIH?
So I think Satish mentioned that capital chases talent. I think it's no different. Even corporates also chase good products, good companies, good services, good talent. So, in fact, everybody chases good talent and good money. So, there's no doubt about it. So, I think if you're talking about RTIH and the role of corporates, I think Lokesh Garu mentioned about ease of doing business. But when you mention about ease of doing business, I think the context is obviously mostly startups. How can we nurture startups faster? But I think, at least in Tata Group, what we say is, how do Tata companies become most attractive corporates for startups? That's what we try to do it. Can we do something so that we become the most attractive? Because we are there in almost every industry. We have thousands of problems. In fact, starting Monday, we are starting a program for shop floor workers and supervisors, asking them to identify problems which can be solved using AI. We are targeting about 15,000 shop floor workers in this month, to help them identify problems. Then we train them, and then we put them with mentors who have done AI projects in Tata companies, and try and see how we can scale. In fact, my team does a lot of work in identifying startups, giving them use cases. We publish use case every month on an open website. Startups apply, participate, we discuss, and then when it comes to giving an opportunity to startup, we find there are a little bit of rough edges. It could be, most of them are due to legal systems and stuff like that, which I don't want to go into detail, but we are trying to solve it. So I think we can accelerate this journey if we can have an equivalent of 3PL, for example, since you are here. Can we have a 3PL for startups to ride on and do some use cases in corporates, which can de-risk the whole thing? So this is a big problem. De-risking to work with startups is a big subject. It's not an easy, but I think there's a role that 3PL can play here, equivalent of 3PL, not really 3PL, but I'm just drawing a parallel. So corporates are hungry. If there is something that we can do to bridge the gap between this hunger of corporates and those barriers that I'm talking about, I think we can accelerate a lot when it comes to helping this vision of one family, one entrepreneurship. And let me go to our very similar to what we've been talking about, HCM's vision. Our chairman, he participates. He sort of when it comes to, I talked about recognizing failures. There's one of those years when we didn't have any award for the failure. So there's one evening in which there are about 15 awards given. There are 15,000 nominees, and there are 15 awards, so 1 per 1,000. More difficult than IIT JEE Advanced or JEE Mains to win an award in Tata Innovation Ecosystem. So there was no award for Dare to Try, and he was quite upset. He said, I'm very unhappy. While we have given 14 awards, but for me the most favorite award is Dare to Try, which means there is something which is missing. Why are people not trying bold ideas? So there was a message, and that is a message. And when we have leaders like HCM and our chairman, and I think, as I said, we all can come together and help their vision, accomplish that vision of our leaders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Just to add to that, if for any of you who's curious as to what the 17 plus partners that are working with RTIH today are doing, they are literally leading the whole initiative, driving it on themselves. We have corporate innovation challenges wherein, as Mr. Arora just mentioned, corporates throw their problem statements open for startups to work on, that then go on to become procurement channels and work orders for startups. They are also trying to open up their test beds, their labs, so that startups can have access to the data sandboxes that they can work on. They are also anchoring certain sectors across our hub and spoke network. And also imagine the best people in the corporates that are coming in now as mentors in the RTIH network. So we're really grateful for all the support that we're getting, sir, from the corporate and the knowledge partner network that we have in RTIH. Mr. Rajesh, we come back to you now. You've mentioned how it's so important to create hero startups. So we do have a lot of startup founders now working. So what can RTIH and Government of AP now do to help them in their scale journey?
I think, if the startups are created right, I think that, I'm being very, very, upfront and obvious here that they really don't need much of help. You have to be around them and ensure that we're not doing anything stupid that they really, say ki I'm bumming Vizag and I'm moving out of here. So I think getting something created is actually, so basically, let's say assuming startups begin, let's say assuming 100 startups or let's say 1,000 startups, begin, right? Getting to the first institutional raise and getting to something really working, right? That, that fall is the highest. Probably 1,000 may say, less than 10 or 7 or 8 will get there. Once it's working, the chances of these companies probably, IPOing maybe 30 to 40%, right? So literally after it's created, after the founders know what they want to do, how to figure things out, etc. I think, letting them be and not disturbing them too much is how I will put it as. And if they come to you guys for help, figure it out or at least act like you're helping so that they tell the good things about you guys, right? Yeah.
Point taken. We're just gonna let them be if they already started up and doing well.
Yeah. You'll land me up in trouble, boss.
Mr. Satish sir, so you're already helping us do this, but I just wanted it to come from you. The Alternative Investment Fund, especially a state-backed AIF that we're trying to build, what kind of design principles do we put in place so that the private capital is not hesitant to invest in that?
Yeah. I know Bhaskar Garu is here, is very actively, obviously working on this, and it's been a dream of Lokesh Garu also. So I think first thing we need to do is make sure that it's privately run and it's neutral, right? And it's very focused. The most important thing is that a lot of states do a mistake of course, we need to create a fund to support entrepreneurs in the state, that's important. But also to create that escape velocity and to create the success, we should be a bit more flexible. One of the things we could do is that if you have significant operations in AP, right? Even the founding team could be in Bangalore, could be in Hyderabad, could be in Chennai, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying all of them, a portion of them. If they have significant operations in AP, right? A small piece of the fund could be allocated to them. So I think when we create a platform like that today, if you really look at Startup India took birth 10 years ago, a 10,000 crore allocation by government, Honorable Prime Minister, all credit to the Commerce Department, right? DPIIT. The 10,000 crore had a multiplier effect of another 10. So 100,000 crores went into the startup ecosystem, right? So very similarly now, if you look at, there's a deep tech fund, there's an AI mission, there's a quantum mission, there is RDI fund of 1 lakh crores that is recently announced. So there are several initiatives. There is Self-Reliant India, which is an MSME fund. That's again another 10,000 crores. One of the things we need to do is leverage all of these schemes. State will definitely contribute and the private investors will contribute. But let's make it a neutral platform, privately run and run for profit and run on merit primarily, right? So that it'll only grow and become really big. I think that's the plan. And, that's the structure all of you and Bhaskar Garu, everybody is kind of putting into place. And I believe that, like I said, we should have at least 3 funds or 4 funds, from my perspective. We should have an innovation fund. I think there are some ideas, how do we jumpstart innovation? Like you talked about, speed of business is the tagline of AP today. We talk about a lot of deep tech stuff. We have fundamental problems in this country about deep tech, and you talked about it, ease of doing business. Today you can't import chips. You got to go to Singapore, you got to go to Taiwan to get the chips, primarily, right? In China, in certain areas, if you do phase 1 trials of biotech, you are allowed to commercialize that as long as you pass through the safety test. In India, you have to wait for several years to get through phase 2 trials, which is phase 1 is safety, phase 2 is clinical efficiency. So there are certain things, certain knobs that we can turn, right? Very similar to what was done in STPI. very similar to what is being done in GIFT today. GIFT is outside of the purview of SEBI and RBI. That is to fast track. I think as a state, we have certain levers to kind of create. So we should have an innovation fund, we should have an MSME fund, we should have a social fund, and we should also have a women entrepreneur fund. I think we should have multiple funds, absolutely, which are all run by very, very efficient fund managers, right? So that we can create this ecosystem that will evolve and make us, all of us, proud and give enough opportunities to the entrepreneurs.
Thank you, sir.
Ratri, I want to add one thing. On this, the scaling part and early startup part, right? Government is always one of the biggest customer of services. The amount of spend government does, right from technology to, let's say, obviously at a national level, defense to logistics to etc. Right? And like in many countries, lot of startups, I think 30 to 40% startups are building for government as well, right? So in that direction, like we can probably review every spend, and generally we find that it's not a very, open area to really go and innovate. And if that we can open up, that can actually give a lot of startups rooms to really grow within the state for the state consumption.
Absolutely, sir. You keep talking about making AP the GovTech capital of the world. That is something we have in cards, where we really are serious about developing GovTech, civic tech solutions here in AP, and that becomes the epicenter of innovation in the governance front.
That's in full control of yours. You can just enable and debottleneck.
No, see, the matter of fact also is that the entire speed, right? I mean, if you look at the mojo of Andhra Pradesh now, it's all about speed of doing business. Where did it all start? It started with a conversation that Chandra sir of Tata Group and I had while I was dropping him at the airport. So he came to meet the CM. So one way the industries minister, the other way I went with him. He said, "Yeah, we don't get time. So might as well steal that 40 minutes in the car so I can do my rapid question fire round." I wish I recorded, I should have got this camera and put it there record. I asked him, I said, "Sir, this time around, what would your advice be to me?" He said, "Speed." His point was, please understand that today, pretty much all large organizations are doing north of billions of dollars of investment. Speed matters. A 6 months delay, once projects get grounded, entire business plan goes for a toss. Why am I sharing that with all of you here is that conversations that we have are very serious, are in-depth, and the state actually acts on it. It's not, acha baat hui hai, I got a chance to meet Chandra sir, took a selfie and we forgot. No. In fact, that's not a priority. Our priority is more, what is the feedback? What are the areas that we can improve? So as Satish has also shared that, lot of changes, it could be regulatory changes. And that's why I keep jokingly saying, in Andhra Pradesh, we have the double engine bullet train Sarkar. So you have Namo, as we say. So Namo is no longer just Narendra Modi ji, it's Naidu and Modi ji together. So the idea is our ability to champion policies at the national level is also something, we have appetite for it. And the beauty is Government of India also is recognizing the fact that incremental reforms are not going to get us where we have to. The beauty is that today Government of India, like when I talk to Piyush ji or Ashwini ji or even Nirmala madam, they're all like, you tell us what we have to do, but double digit karna hai. We have to grow at 11-12%. You tell us. Transformative changes we're willing to do. I think that is exciting. And that is something where I'm looking forward to working with leaders on the dais, off the dais. Because tell us the changes that you look forward to. It could be in biotech, in chips, our ability to import, our relationships even with countries, our neighboring countries. These are things that, Government of India is very serious, passionate about. And Andhra Pradesh is one state that can champion those conversations. Please understand that Google's investment in Andhra now sounds great, but it took us 13 months of hard work. We followed on, we worked on regulation, data privacy, lawful intercept definition, data embassies, to retrospective taxation. We really worked on it. It was done in the interest of our great country. our nation. In the process, Andhra had first more advantage, so be it. If other states are sleeping, I can't help it, no? Like quantum mission. We are not looking at just bringing a quantum computer, but we are now working on how can I tap the entire funds available in the quantum mission, build the ecosystem, now go back to manufacturing. So what you will see 10 years from now is actual manufacturing, research, manufacturing actually happening in the Amravati cluster. So that is what is required, and that is what I'm looking for to working with all of you. See, with all fairness, I'm a reasonable expert in politics and policy making. I'm not an expert in logistics. So I look forward to working with Rajesh on logistics. I look forward to working with Satishji on how do I create the ecosystem for fundraising. But you need to challenge us, you need to push us, and only then we can create this vibrant ecosystem that can not only make Andhra Pradesh proud, but India proud.
Honorable Minister for MSME, sir. Sir, for OFOE, one family, one entrepreneur vision, we really need to bank on our regional strengths and economies of scale. How do we make this mass movement through the cluster approach that we have and through MSME, sir?
That's a nice question. Firstly, you should recognize the ministry as such. Honorable Chief Minister has aligned the departments in a very passionate way. No, in the country, no other state has this ministry. MSME, SERP, and NRI relations and empowerment. It actually connects to the grassroots level to the global level. We have SERP department where 90 lakh women work for empowerment. Their financial empowerment, their social empowerment. So we are there, we are starting with SERP department to adopt one family, one entrepreneur. There's a target of 1 lakh women should convert into entrepreneurship every year. Honorable Chief Minister has given to us. And MSME department is closely working to scale this up. We are trying to enlarge to maximum more than 1 lakh or 2 lakhs. We're trying to create the ecosystem, getting the private players, nurture the women, form the value chain, create a brand, and so that there are a lot of verticals altogether. They have food processing, they have gifting culture, they have a lot of good ideas which can be taken into a global value. So the government is clearly working with the private partners to empower these women. SERP is actually adopting in a big way with one family, one entrepreneur. And as such, MSME is closely working with SERP department and RTIH and along with the Ministry of Industry as well to connect the global value. And we also have the NRT ministry here, which is closely working with all the NRIs. There is a large Telugu diaspora which is across the globe. We're inviting them, connecting them to the state, trying to build the network so that the market access can be, connected to the global value, and all the products that are being manufactured or being produced here can be scaled up to the global value chain. So there's a big way to go, but we are starting here. We're aligning the departments to work. We're building the policies to get into that line, and we're taking the private partnership. We're taking the help of RTIH in a big way. It has to be a closer connect, and we are also taking the cluster approach. As such, Honorable Chief Minister has divided the entire state in a cluster approach so that the large industries are connected to the ancillary units. So the logistic cost can be reduced. As such, we have automotive sector in the Anantapur. We have a petrochemical side in the across the Ramayapatnam port, and we have bulk drug across North Andhra, and we have steel industry in the North Andhra. We have IT hub in Visakhapatnam. We have quantum hub in the Amravati. As such, there's a lot of, and the drone hub in Kurnool. So as such, the entire state, and we're adopting the futuristic technology as well. We have a aerospace policy. We have a space technology companies. We're inviting the private players. We're inviting the defense policy, where we're incentivizing based on getting the rights from original equipment manufacturer. So a lot of policies have been built to adopt, to bringing the industries to state of Andhra Pradesh, and also creating an ecosystem where the cluster approach can be taken in a big way, incentivized, and we also have a big thing called 175 MSME parks. Honorable Chief Minister believes that getting the employment close to the city is not the right way. He thinks that, the rural people should really get an employment. So he has created 175 MSME parks. So these rural people can really start somewhere with, better ecosystem, better facilities. With, these parks can really accommodate them in a big, with a good support, where their capital investment and operating investment can be reduced. And there's a big way that, Honorable Chief Minister is also trying to create a cluster, common facility centers in these industrial parks. So there's a lot of ecosystem which is really going on, and we're inviting the private, players to collaborate with the government so that, we really could take it to the global value, global chain. Thank you for that. Thank you.
I think what Srinath spoke about is the verticals. I'm sure if anyone visited my sessions earlier, you would have heard this from me. Vertical and horizontal integration in a cluster. Horizontal is where my ministry comes in, which is education, right? Let's take solar cell manufacturing. There's so much of research that can still happen. So I'm working on global education institutions who have expertise in certain segment. So like James Cook University to look at aqua, right? University of New South Wales to look at solar cell. How can we do rapid prototyping from ingot to testing, wafer, the whole 9 yards? So entrepreneurs like you who have an idea, who understand material science, can actually go there and then incubate. So vertical is set. The ecosystem companies are in. The horizontal is where we come in. As you rightly said, testing. Certification. Air conditioning heat pump. Again, Blue Star gave me this feedback. I don't know how many of you know, 50% of India's air conditioners are manufactured in Andhra. With the new agreement with LG, Daikin and Blue Star, it's going to go to 70%. But there is no certification agencies there. So anytime a heat pump that's made for Europe or anywhere, you have to get certified. We need to send it to Germany or various other countries. Our engineers have to go, minimum 2 crores is spent just on certification. The question that was asked to me is like, why is it not there in this ecosystem? That's when it struck to me. So we're doing this glass city, drone city, and so on and so forth. So certification, testing, common facilities itself becomes a huge draw for entrepreneurs to actually come and look at. So just to add on to what you said. Thank you, Srini.
Yeah, thank you, sirs. I just have 2 more questions and I request my guests to give crisp answers in the interest of time. Professor Ramesh, we do have brilliant research talent in India. We see that often, but then the commercialization of research is a little poor. How do we help, sir, this lab to industry journey?
I think first off, we need to get those good research institutions, right? I'm with an institution that our CM Garu created, right? Ground up. Like Lokesh Garu said, ISB was brought in, but Tripartite was created ground up, his vision, right? And he created, and I think today it ranks in 25, 26 years, it ranks now among the top 1 or 2 in the country for AI research, right? And maybe top 5 in the country for overall computer science research. I think we need those institutions to come up first. I mean, lab to land requires good quality research happening. So on one end, we're going grassroots, intent entrepreneur. On the other side, you need to get those, like Satish said, technology for the world, right? Or the innovation for the world. That will by and large be based on some deep science, deep tech. So I think there needs to be those research centers created first. The mindset, I think, when the vision of the government that day was like you create an institution within the government framework, it will become yet another government academic institution. It was kept outside the government framework. Today we are a private university, our sole promoter was the state government. And I think that mindset is very important. So it should be started with that mindset that you're doing research and with the intent to commercialize, the Israeli model. I don't think we have much of it in India today. IITs had a long way before, and now they're changing last 10, 20 years, but still very slow to change. Institutions like IIIT are good in this sense because we have to generate our own funds. We have very strong intent to commercialize, but we are limited in bandwidth in terms of what we can do. We're doing good, but we could do much better. If you create a new breed of institutions with that intent, Israeli model is what I would suggest. Create those hubs, small hubs, PG research institutions. Teaching is not the focus. I think that is required with that new mindset is what I would think can bring about a significant shift.
Thank you, sir. Through the numerous centers of excellence that we're going to have in the RTIH network, hopefully we do an actionable interaction with our knowledge partners and research institutions. Mr. Madan, the last question to you is, how do we make entrepreneurship a mass movement and not just an urban privilege?
Very wonderfully said. I think the first thing begins by, and I've seen it happen, the miracles happen. We've taken literally zero educated, illiterate village youth, and in 6 months to a 1,000-hour intervention, we've transformed them to be English speaking, digital illiterate entrepreneurs, professionals. We've done it for over 100,000 youth across 100 districts. So much so that two of my rural youth and I are the first day for sure, the entire incoming batch of all civil servants of the country, where we talk about transforming rural poverty. That's the power. So at RTIH, if we can shout from the rooftops that there is unlimited potential in every youth, right? Make them believe that they are capable of miracles, miracles will happen, right? So I think that is the second thing is the journey that we've been talking about of youth. 4 stages quickly. One is inspire. How do we inspire them? How do we create aspirations in them to become entrepreneurs? How do we get them to respire where they start? And how do we get them to perspire where they start growing? If we can speed up this journey of inspire, aspire, respire, perspire through RTIH and get as many people to experience that journey through a pyramid, the speed, Lokesh Garu, that you're talking about, if we can hit that and we fail fast, fail forward, it'll inspire people to say this is all doable, and that's what we need, right? I'm a big lover, and I'll end with that of the movie Kung Fu Panda, right? How a common panda can become a Kung Fu warrior is all by belief and by the ecosystem around shouting and celebrating successes. And I think RTIH is ideally positioned to make that happen, and it will happen. That's the belief that maybe we'll leave this panel with. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This conversation was so rich that maybe I'm biased, but I feel like there should be a part 2 just for RTIH, or we should probably make a mini series out of this conversation. I know, sir. So on that note, they say that all good things must end, especially a time-bound panel session. I think I'm here being urged to end this. So on that note, thank you so much to our honorable ministers. Sir, you both have set the vision for innovation that now gives us the mandate and the momentum that we need. Thank you so much to my distinguished panelists. All of your inputs were really honest, actionable and thought-provoking, and we're going to make sure to take it forward. A big thank you to all the entrepreneurs that are attending today. You are the reason why this ecosystem exists and why there's an urgency for us to build it as well. A huge thank you to the audience who've been standing for over an hour to listen to the panel discussion. It's really great to see this. And my sincere gratitude to CII for enabling this pivotal discussion to happen and for your continued support to the state of Andhra Pradesh. Thanks a lot. Over to you, ma'am.
So I must say, power pack, energetic, innovative, thoughtful and visionary session. I request all the audience to give them a big round of applause and a huge round of applause, in fact, so that they hear that we are appreciating this session so much. Thank you so much to all the panelists and honorable ministers. Now, to give respect and in honor, may I request Honorable Minister Mr. Nara Lokesh to facilitate our co-chair and esteemed panelists. May I request, sir, if you can come forward with a token of appreciation from Government of Andhra Pradesh and CII. Honorable Minister of MSME, Shri Kondapalli Srinivas Garu. Mr. Ravi Arora. Yeah, that's it. Mr. Rajesh Yabaji. Mr. Madan Padaki. And Professor Ramesh. Thank you so much. Big round of applause for all the panelists, please. It's an opportunity for all of us to witness the exchange of MOUs. May I now request Honorable Minister Mr. Nara Lokesh and Kondapalli Srinivas to initiate the exchange of MOUs, please. I would like to call upon AP Vaga, the Andhra Pradesh VFX Animation and Gaming Association, through this collaboration, they will establish a center of excellence in AVGC XR right there at Amravati. It will also extend incubation support for startups in the media and entertainment sector, helping them to scale cutting-edge innovations and take Andhra Pradesh to the forefront of the digital creative revolution. Can we have a big round of applause for them, please? Next, we have Startup UAE. We request if only 2 representatives can come on the stage, please. Startup UAE. This MOU will launch a startup exchange program giving RTIH incubated startups access to international markets, investors and network across to UAE. It will also create a bridge between RTIH and UAE based innovation entities. Next we have Quantum AI. Do we have Quantum AI? Okay. We move on to the AIM and AIG. Are they here? Yeah. Can we have a big round of applause for them, please? In partnership with AIG AIM, they're proudly launching IU Nova, a healthcare-focused incubator cell that will nurture transformative health tech startups, positioning Andhra Pradesh as a leader in health tech innovation. Startup Runway. Are they there? Yeah. Next up we have Startup Runway. This is the partnership with Startup Runway. They are going to launch a US market exchange program who's going to provide startups with mentorship, soft landing support, investor access and entry pathways into American markets. Can we have a big round of applause for them, please? And the last we have is RRP Electronics Limited. So RRP Electronics Limited, this is a OSAT project. This is a OSAT project which is talking about outsourcing semiconductor assembly facility, and they're investing around 10,000 crore of worth of investment. Can we have a big round of applause, please? May I request all the ministers as well as the panelists to come together for the photo opportunity, please. Can we have a photo op, please? Thank you so much, and it's a great audience, I must say, and please, I applaud everybody who's been here, and thank you. With this, we close the session, and we will be moving on to the next session shortly at 12. Thank you.